full body stretch out this morning is going to start with us using our ball. And I would say this segment is probably going to last 15 minutes. All right. So we'll see. We'll see if I can hold myself to 15 minutes. Can you start with some just gentle circles? Plant your feet, separate your feet about hip width apart. Don't feel like you need to keep your spine rigid, like allow the S to C curve. And I think more importantly, it should be, how does it make you feel? All right. So if there's something wonky going on and a particular position kind of exacerbates the sensation in a negative way, then try to lessen your range of motion is all I can say, right? Reverse your rotation. So, as you guys know, I'm in this curious kind of exploring phase with planting stuff. I got a bouquet of roses, and I've seen this little, I don't know if it's an Instagram reel or a Facebook reel or something like that, where this man shows you how to take your almost dead rose, and instead of throwing it in the trash, you take it at the bud, walk out. So you take the bud, and from like a couple inches down from the bud, you snip it. And then you take the end and you dip it in honey, and then you stick it in a potato. I'm going to try that because what do I have to lose, right? And I love roses. But the thing about roses is, I was talking to one of my friends last week, and I showed up at her house, and she had this beautiful bouquet of peonies. I think that's how you say it, peonies. And that flower it's such a dramatic flower. It has so much going on. And then we got to talking about roses, peonies, and all the different types of flowers. And I said, I love roses, but I feel like often I have to move myself because I'm walking off my mat. When you get into your walkout position right now, you're going to stay settled in, make sure you can get your head comfortably on the ball if that's where you want it. You're going to go wide feet, let the hips slide down into the deep knee bend, right? And there's a tricky aspect to feeling like you're not going to slide off the ball, right? So I want you to just explore this depth, maybe even taking the backs of your arms and kind of squeezing the ball initially until you figure out that the ball's not going to shoot out from under you and you're not going to go too deep. But when you push back, your heavy head needs some support. So one hand or both hands back. If your ball is really large, then when you roll down, you may be able to find the spot where you can keep your head on the ball and you don't need your arms. But most people don't have that big of a ball that they're working with that allows that. So I've still got one hand behind my head, even though my body is really stretched out. My free arm is in a nice extension, allowing me to get extra stretch through that armpit. We're going to do about 3 more of these. You just take yourself to the point where you feel in control and like pleasantly surprised to how good the stretch feels. If it's not a pleasant surprise to your body, then you're working too hard for it, or you need to keep your knees a little bit soft so that you can like protect yourself and not scare yourself into your full stretch. Do this last pushback. Sometimes it takes a couple of repetitions for you to figure out, one, you're not going to fall off the ball, two, you're not going to cramp anything up, and three, that your body is receptive to the stretch, right? So as you come into your bent legs, pull your head from the ball, all right, chin towards the chest. Think about crunching, drawing those feet back. I worked with somebody yesterday, or excuse me, last week, who hasn't spent time on the ball. So there was so much fear that he had about, oh my gosh, like I'm going to fall off the ball. And I want you to know that I know that that's a very real sensation. And I don't take for granted what I'm asking you all to do. I hope that you're comfortable enough manipulating yourself on the ball so that you're not scared when we pull the ball into our equation. All right, I may rotate myself the other way to keep my foot from sliding, but I wanted to give you the frontal view initially. We're just doing our ragdoll roll down. If you want to get off your ball and sit on your chair for this, you absolutely can. You just want to make sure that you're sitting forward on your ball in a way that allows your leg to have a nice extension, and the same way you would be if you were sitting in your chair. You don't want to sit all the way back. So just allow your body to relax, let the head tip down. You're looking at your leg. If you can get your foot to toes reaching to the floor, that'll get you a nice extra stretch through these extensors on the top of that foot, right? And they cross the ankle. And then if you're down here, just rock the toes back up. Oh, so that should be maximum stretch through the back of that calf. Push the toes back down. There's an interesting thing that happens when we reach arm to leg. And so often we're inclined to take the same arm to the leg, right? And go, oh, wow, I can like really get to my toes. But look what it's done to the rest of us. It's cocked our body in a way that it's a false sense of stretch. So I want you to reach your opposite hand down, and that will keep you squared up, and then rock the toes back up. We're referencing the foot, but that's not the end all, right? Just wherever your hand can rest. And you're just going to push down, pull back. My other arm is braced on my, like that hip crease, upper thigh, so that I'm protecting my back from being overly loaded in this stretch position. Rock down. Maybe the hand is able to slide down. If you will take your gaze, right, and just lower your head and relax the neck, while you're extending your arm, you'll find that your body does go a little bit deeper. Now, as you pull yourself back up, switch sides. You, I hope, felt this anchor leg really having to hold its ground while you were doing your stretch, right? So switch it out, find the sweet spot, right? Allow the foot to push down. Your anchor leg and your hips should leave you feeling initially as you start your stretch, even though we're going for a roll down, your body should start like in this lifted, elongated position, and then you allow the extra stretch. So you can roll up, you can roll down, or you can just stay down with your good brace, opposite hand reaching. Take your gaze, drop your head so you're looking at your leg and your ankle and your foot and your hand where it's connecting on your leg. And then just start, why don't we say we'll do 5 of these little toes to floor. Rock the toes up. Toes to floor. Allow a couple of seconds when you get to that end range for your body to just receive the stretch. Toes to floor, that's 3. You can back out of the stretch to whatever degree makes you feel more comfortable. Take the stretch, rock it back. So in the email I sent about Wednesday's pre-recorded class, pull back up, walk yourself up. That's the class we did last Wednesday, where I broke it up into segments. And so you know that it's the class I posted on this email is from last Wednesday's class. Push, pull, push, pull. And because your all's feedback was that you liked that class, okay? Push, pull. Here we go, little marching. I know this is full body stretch out. It doesn't seem like this is a stretch, but it's not. It's activation. And though when you lift your leg, it's hip flexor and ab, right? I want you to think about what the rest of the body has to do. So the rest of the body is pulling back. You're in brace mode, right? So abs are drawn in, shoulders are down. Shoulders are not only down, they're in expansion. So from front body expansion creates your rear body activation. The down foot is in a firm push mode. So that is also back body activation. Push, pull, push, pull. You don't have to take your arms into full extension up if you don't want to. You can let your elbow be the driver. Opposite arm sweeping forward to the leg. If you want to get more, then you just start lengthening your limbs. You can tuck in the middle and elongate, right? Tuck and push. So I got to teach another class at Gold's Gym last week. And because I'm not a silver sneakers teacher, I'm not teaching a silver sneakers class, but it's similar to what would be done in silver sneakers. So at the end of the class, one of the ladies says, she's like, I've never done this stuff before. She's like, that was really interesting. And she said, not only that, she said, you're very precise on like making sure that it's done right. And I was like, why, thank you. Thank you very much for noticing, because I said, I actually value that that's really important more than just moving your body. So I gave them some balancing stuff. And, I would say half of the time you're going to do one more each side. Half of the workout was standing, half of the workout was seated. And this is your last one. And it was good fun. Release and relax. All right. So we're going to take our back to the mat and we're going to have our legs on the ball and we'll go into our nice little hip roll from side to side. You may want your extra cushion for your head just to get your neck in the right spot. My sisters got me a little hydroponic garden planting kit that I've put it all together, but it doesn't have any seeds. So I started the search of, if I now have this new way of growing lettuce, then I don't need the hydroponic thing to grow my lettuce plants. So what else would I want in there? And I'm going to buy some tomato seeds, because the thing is really small. Like, I don't know the potential of this planting kit, if it actually has potential to be useful or not. So legs over the ball. You're not doing bridges, right? I just want you to pull the ball in nice and tight to the backs of the thighs. Your knees are, I don't know, about hip width apart, okay? Arms comfortably wide, because that's going to help you just not go crazy rolling, losing your balance as you roll side to side. If you will think about this, instead of just thinking about the legs rolling side to side, I want you to think about the opposite shoulder staying pulled down to the floor as the legs move away from it. So your palms should be up. If you'll stop your body in the middle for a second, let's think about gliding our shoulder blades down, kind of. And as you glide them down, you're kind of trying to tuck your wings in. And then if you pick up your head and you look at your arm, instead of having your arm straight out at a T position, let your arm take on this little bit of an angle where we know that it's called a W. Okay. So the arms are widely bent. All right, not tightly bent, because that changes the alphabet letter to an M. You want the hands to be wider than the elbows, and hopefully all of the back of that arm on the floor. This is going to set your front body up in a more expanded trunk position, and it will not make the stretch easier. You probably won't even be able to get as far in your rotation before you start noticing that it requires effort to keep that shoulder and the pec wall down. So, and the legs are going to keep doing their thing, and your focus is on your upper body. Shoulder blades pulled to the floor. Your chin is gently tucked in, so you should feel like you're in cervical spine retraction. And as you roll from side to side, like, no longer is it just what the legs are doing. You're firing up your obliques, and you should feel like, oh, I'm getting a little stretch along that back quadrant, right through the above the hip area. A lot of things are happening right now. And on this next roll, we're going to pause, right? So now, don't go too far, just pause in the mid zone. Shoulder blades are pulled down from right to left shoulder. You're as flat to the floor as you can get. Your legs are just hanging out in a torqued position that should make you feel like you've got some load happening on muscles through the obliques. Roll it the other way. This is your last one. Exhale. Inhale to center. Now, walk the ball out. One foot crosses over the other thigh, and you're just going to start pushing and pulling the ball. As you bring the ball to you, if your hands go to the legs because you want to pull in tighter, you can use your arms to gently guide the legs in or not, your call. Personally, the leg that I have on the ball, as I pull in, I like to take my foot and let my ball of my foot reach and connect with the ball. So instead of fighting the heel and pushing the heel into the ball to get the ball closer to me, I just change my ankle action, which makes me feel like I'm not fighting the stretch. Push it out, pull it in. Hopefully, when you pull the ball in, you don't feel your hips lift from the floor and then your back kind of gets squirrely. I want you to anchor those hips down. That might be the challenge. Your inclination might be for you to try to powerfully pull the ball to you. And as soon as you do that, the tailbone curls up and then the leg gets all squirrely and your body's like fighting something. No fight. Stretch, not strain. And then as we switch legs, we're going to fine tune what really the alignment should be. All right. So now you may need to support your head for a moment as you're looking at your own body. So as you start pulling the leg in, take stock of the angle of the leg that's connected to the ball. Sometimes the ankle goes wide and the knee collapses in, and that creates this whole wonky hip position. Believe it or not, you have the control to swing the foot in the right direction to get the knee to do the right thing. Now, the whole reason why the foot and the knee go in opposing directions is because we have tight hips, okay? So when the foot kicks out and the knee collapses in, your external hip rotator isn't doing its job on your support leg. All right, so once you start identifying the tracking of your leg, right, then you can put your head down, and then maybe you need your hands behind your head to keep your neck in the right spot so that you can keep a watchful eye on your leg. And here's the funny thing. The leg that you're watching, that's not even the leg that's the stretch leg, but that leg controls the stretch. All right. So another reminder is that one side of our body, as it's getting stretched, one very specific muscle is the piriformis. But yet so much is required of our body. All of the rest of our body needs to be properly tracking in order for us to receive the stretch the right way. We can't just willy-nilly move the body and think that our parts are going to know what to do. You've got to track and make them do the right thing. And now let's do one more push and one more pull, and we'll put one more element of the learning aspect to this. So as you pull the ball to you, before your tailbone lifts off the floor, right? Because you know that that's too far, anchor the tailbone. I've got the ball of my foot on my ball. I'm feeling the stretch, but not in a pained way. And here's where you go, okay, currently you're probably in a deep C curve spine, which would be a normal position for this. I want you to go, okay, C curve, how would I shift my abdomen and my low back to get a partial S curve? So try to do that. Try to pull your lumbar away from the floor, but only just, and then powerfully take the foot that's on the ball and draw the foot to you while you're in your partial S. That should render you a deeper piriformis stretch. And relax. Good. Both legs on the ball. Get the ball situated so that you're like mid calf on the ball, and your heel should be on the ball as well. All right. One leg, you're going to grab it, put the hands around the back of that thigh. Where are we here? See, I could make a whole class. I could do a whole hour on the ball. We might just do that. I'm kidding. Look, we're going to do this as our last thing, and then we'll shift gears because we've already exceeded the 15-minute mark. So hands behind the thigh, shoulders out of the ears, right? You're going to floss the nerve, take the leg up, flex the foot, pull it down. The inclination is going to be to get the leg straight, but I'm not going to encourage you to do that. I want you to try to keep your thigh close to your ribs. And when you take the leg up, it's going to stretch the hamstring without straining. So shoulders out of the ears, elbows are gently tucked towards your ribs. Your thigh is pulled to your torso. And as you take the leg up, the leg stays significantly bent. Flex the foot, pull it down. We are going to do some straight, but right now we're working on the angle. Toes are pointed, ankle shifts position to flex foot, pull it down. Toes point up, shoulders out of the ears, flex foot, pull it down. So now on this up, allow your arms to lengthen so that the thigh pulls away from the body. The leg is up, and from there, you're just going to do your ankle circles. All right, your eyes are on your foot.
When I give this movement to people who are not used to just moving one little part of their body, reverse circle, I find so often people want to kind of circle their leg at their hip or their knee while they're trying to get their ankle circles. Stabilize the rest of your parts and see if you can just move the ankle. And I want you to go slow through this down rotation to get as much range of motion as you possibly can. Don't just let it come passively through the down. Pull it down, hard flex it, work it around, and then release. Other leg. Thigh to chest, glide the shoulders down, tuck the elbows in, pull that leg in nice and tight. And then with your toes pointing, lengthen the leg without straightening it, flex the foot, pull the heel down. Inhale up, exhale down. We're doing 5, and then we're going to go to our long arms, pull it down. 3. 4. One more. So as you go back up to this extension, let the arms lengthen. And when you lengthen the arms, they probably are going to need to slide down in order for you to keep the stress off of the shoulders, right? And now you're working that foot, a little pointing and flexing. And then when you're ready, start your circles. Work it, work it, work it. While you're holding your leg, can you reset the shoulders down into their depressed position? You kind of got your eyes on your ankle. If you change your eyes, the focus, look at your knee. Is the leg twisting in and out while the foot is trying to make it circle? Or can you keep the knee and the hip dialed in and just work that one joint? Work the foot the other direction. So one of the interesting things that I pointed out to my new class that I got to sub in is I planted the seed that sometimes the hardest thing to do when it comes to control is to actually stop the body where it's supposed to be, right? So we did some of our 3-step walk to stop, hold, and they were really surprised, release and relax. They were surprised at how hard it is to actually put the brakes on and stay still, because they're just not used to given that, right? They're used to dancing around and dancing around, not really with any instruction on what they should be thinking about while they're dancing around. So I want you to know that you've successfully completed the ball portion of this workout.